Today I want to talk to you about making what's possible predictable, because there is no silver bullet in business, but there is a chain of secrets. And today we're going to stitch together for you the iceberg illusion, the definition of insanity, the definition of genius, and making what's possible predictable.
This is The Rare Advisor, proud to be a part of the Advisor Advancement Network and home of a business model supercharged by recurring and repeatable events. Your host is Mike Walters, CEO of USA Financial. He is an investment advisor representative of and securities are offered through USA Financial Securities, member FINRA SIPC, a registered investment advisor.
Hey, welcome. Recently, here on The Rare Advisor, we spoke to the concept of the iceberg illusion. And I had a lot of feedback on that, and I think it's worthy of diving deeper and connecting together a few of these different items. And the general concept being that there is no silver bullet. There's no silver bullet in business, there's no silver bullet in life, and there's definitely no silver bullet in running a financial advisory practice. However, there is a chain of secrets. And understanding the general kind of overarching theme of a chain of secrets starts in many ways with the iceberg illusion. Now, you might recall from previous discussions, the iceberg illusion is the idea that 90% of the iceberg is unseeable. The eyewitness does not see 90% of the iceberg because it's below the waterline. So it's only that top 10% that we see. And generally speaking, when people look at us, whether they're looking at our business or they're looking at our life, or they're looking at our professional success, whatever it might be, they tend to see just the top 10%. And then they make all these assumptions, whether they think it came easily or they think it was unfounded, or, whatever the case might be. They don't think there's a lot of complexity there when there really is. But we know that underneath the surface, in order to have the top 10% showing success, running a successful practice, that underneath the surface, the other 90% is blood, sweat, and tears. We know there are failures. We know there are systems and processes that have been painstakingly put into place. We know it takes a lot of courage. We know it takes a lot of discipline. We know there's been late nights. There's been struggles and hurdles and pitfalls and setbacks. And at the same time, there's been excitement, and there's been a thrilling ride, and there's been an unbelievable high, and there's been success after success after success. But the issue is, does our iceberg continue to get larger, or does it continue to shrink and get smaller and then get larger and then get smaller and then get larger, which is a common issue for a lot of financial advisors, where they don't have consistent, predictable growth. And so what we want to talk about is, how do you string these things together? Because what happens is the iceberg illusion very quickly often gives way to the definition of insanity. Now, as Albert Einstein would say, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, yet expecting different results. In other words, you're beating your head against the wall. So when you're running your practice and you don't have systems and processes that are proven and in place, when you can't push buttons and pull levers and have a predictable outcome, then you're probably going about it the wrong way. Meaning that, again, that definition of insanity, if what I'm doing isn't working, doing more of what isn't working isn't going to start working. Doing more of what isn't working is just going to result in more of things not working. In fact, it just digs a bigger and bigger and deeper hole, and it makes your business uncomfortable, beyond unsuccessful, uncomfortable, and just unpleasant overall. But keep in mind, Einstein also talks to us about the definition of genius. Now, the definition of genius is taking complex things and making them simple. The definition of genius is taking the complex and making it simple, and I'll add, and repeatable. Key element is and repeatable. It's systems and processes in a business that are going to allow you to have the highest valuations, the highest joy factor, in enjoyment level in your business, because again, you know that if I run this event and I do it in this way with this system and this follow-up, and I've taken the intangible world and made it very tangible through my processes and my systems that I've built into my business, now I have something that becomes predictable. I've taken that route of the genius, right? I've taken something that's very complex. Financial services world is unbelievably complex, but the successful people know how to make it simple and repeatable. And the way you start with that is by taking this intangible world we operate in and creating tangibility. And you do that through naming things, through systems, processes, formulas, and so on. And what we like to say at USA Financial, make possible predictable. In fact, that's actually what we do at USA Financial. That's kind of our corner of the world, is to make possible predictable. We make what's possible predictable for financial advisors, because a lot of times what happens is you have someone who's very good at the idea of financial planning. They can create a great plan, a great portfolio. Maybe they're even really good with people. Maybe they know how to network, but they don't have the proper systems and processes in place, and therefore they can't make what's possible actually become predictable. So again, we default, right? So what happens is the most predictable practices are the most successful practices, and they have the biggest iceberg effect because they have an elaborate collection of systems and processes that are supporting and underpinning their practice. If you don't have those, you are what's called a sole proprietorship. You are not running a business. You have to be able to let someone else push buttons and pull levers and have a very predictable outcome occur. You have to be able to delegate and approach the world as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, not just as a financial advisor. And then we can take the idea of the iceberg illusion, and it creates a huge benefit for us because the outside world can't quite figure out how we're being so successful as we are. And then our valuations go up because we have systems and processes that are making that success pattern, that iceberg, grow each and every year. We eliminate the definition of insanity. We stop doing things that aren't working in anticipation of thinking that they're going to suddenly somehow start to work. And we replace it with the definition of genius, where we're going to take something that's complex, we're going to make it simple, we're going to make it repeatable. And that's how we make possible to become predictable.
This information is for licensed financial professionals only and is not intended for use in soliciting sales from the public. The views expressed represent the opinions of the presenter or their featured guest, not necessarily those of USA Financial or its affiliated subsidiaries. Industry references are generic and not intended to represent actions or beliefs of any individual or entity. Content is only presented to illustrate general principles, beliefs, or ideas and should not be construed as legal or regulatory advice. Trademark and copyright protected. USA Financial and Affiliates.